Most people don't realize this. You don't need to know cars to get ripped off at a mechanic. You just need trust. Every year, drivers waste thousands on urgent repairs they never needed. And the worst part? It's all completely legal. Today, I'm exposing 15 mechanic scams almost everyone falls for, so it never happens to you. Scam number 1, the air filter bait and switch. Picture this. You're sitting in the waiting room, uncomfortable chair, stale coffee, bad daytime TV. Then the technician walks in holding an engine air filter that looks like it was dragged through a coal mine. He says, "Sir, your air filter is completely clogged. It's choking your engine. We need to replace this immediately." Sounds serious, right? Here's what most people don't know. In dishonest shops, that might not even be your filter. Some places keep a filthy prop air filter hidden in the service bay. When it's time to upsell, they bring that one out, knowing most customers have never seen their own engine bay, let alone their air filter. The fear does the rest. And the worst part? An engine air filter is one of the cheapest and easiest parts to check, which makes it the perfect scam. Here's how you shut this down instantly. Before you ever go to the shop, open your hood and take a Sharpie. Put a small X or your initials on the rubber rim of your air filter. If they bring you a dirty filter that doesn't have your mark, you just caught them lying. At that point, don't argue, don't negotiate. Tell them to reinstall your original filter and leave immediately. If they'll lie about a $20 filter, imagine what else they're lying about. Scam number 2, the cabin air filter markup. Now this one is even sneakier. Your engine air filter protects the engine, but your cabin air filter cleans the air you breathe inside the car. Mechanics love pushing this service because it's pure profit. They'll tell you, "It's dirty. We recommend replacing it today." Then they hit you with a price, $60, $70, sometimes even $80. Here's the truth. The filter itself usually costs $10 to $15 online or at any auto parts store. And for about 90% of cars on the road, replacing it takes less than 3 minutes. No tools, no jack, no lift. Usually, it's as simple as dropping the glove box down and sliding the filter out. So when a shop charges $50 in labor for 3 minutes of work, that's not convenience, that's robbery. Here's the counter. Politely decline the service. Buy the filter yourself. In YouTube, type your car model and cabin air filter replacement. 2 minutes later, you're done, and you just saved $50. Scam number 3, the green cap scam, nitrogen inflation. This one sounds high-tech, and that's exactly why it works. You buy new tires or go in for service, and suddenly the advisor says, "We recommend filling your tires with nitrogen. It stabilizes pressure and prevents tire rot." Then you see the price, $40 or $50 extra. Let's talk science. The air you're breathing right now is already about 78% nitrogen. Regular air at a gas station pump? Same thing. Paying for nitrogen means you're going from 78% to near 100%. And for a daily driver, that makes zero real-world difference. Nitrogen inflation does matter for Formula One cars, for aircraft landing at extreme speeds, for vehicles dealing with massive temperature swings. But for your Toyota Camry, Honda Civic, or daily commuter, it's snake oil. Here's the counter. If nitrogen comes free with new tires, fine, take it. But if there's a charge on the invoice, tell them you want standard air and have that line item removed. Your tires won't know the difference, but your wallet will. Scam number 4, the wiper blade tear. This one is nasty, and most people never see it coming. During a so-called courtesy inspection, a dishonest technician might clean your wiper blades with a rag. What you don't see is what's hidden in that rag. Sometimes a small pick, sometimes just a sharp fingernail. As they wipe, they nick the rubber. A few minutes later, they come back and say, "Your wiper blades are torn. If you keep using them, they could scratch your windshield." Now you're stuck. You can't prove they caused the damage, and no one wants to risk a scratched windshield. So you end up buying their overpriced blades on the spot. And that's the scam. Here's how you protect yourself. Before you hand over the keys, take 10 seconds and inspect your wiper blades. If they were fine when you arrived and suddenly have a tear an hour later, that's not bad luck. That's a serious integrity problem with that shop. Scam number 5. The warped rotor myth. You bring your car in because the steering wheel shakes when you brake. The mechanic takes one drive around the block and says, "Your rotors are warped from heat. You need brand new ones." Sounds logical, but it's usually wrong. Here's the technical reality. Modern brake rotors are made from thick cast iron. They almost never physically warp or bend like a potato chip. What actually happens is called uneven pad deposition. Bits of brake pad material stick to the rotor surface unevenly. When the brake pads grab those high spots, you feel vibration, even though the rotor is still flat. And here's the scam. In many cases, you don't need new rotors at all. They can be resurfaced, also called turned, on a brake lathe for a fraction of the price. If a shop says, "We don't resurface rotors, we only replace them," that's not a rule. That's either laziness or a sales tactic. Here's the counter. Ask them one simple question. Did you measure the rotor thickness? And is there enough metal left to resurface them? If they didn't measure anything, they're not diagnosing, they're guessing. Scam number 6. The caliper upsell. This one quietly blows up your bill. You go in for brake pads. The estimate comes back. Pads, rotors, and calipers. Wait, what? The caliper is the hydraulic clamp that squeezes the brake pads. It's a solid metal component designed to last 150,000 miles or more. Replacing calipers with every brake job is like replacing your bedside lamp every time a light bulb burns out. Unless a caliper is leaking brake fluid or the piston is seized and stuck, it does not need to be replaced. So why do shops add it? Because it can add $300 or more to the bill and takes almost no extra labor since the brakes are already apart. Here's how you shut this down. Ask them directly. Why are we replacing the calipers? Are they leaking? Are they seized? Make them justify the failure. If they can't give a clear mechanical reason, remove it from the estimate. Scam number 7. The 50% worn scare. A service advisor walks out with a grim look on their face and says, "Sir, your brakes are 50% worn. It's getting dangerous to drive." Let's slow this down and use logic. If you've driven 30,000 miles and your brake pads are 50% worn, that means you likely have another 30,000 miles left. That's 2 to 3 years of normal driving. 50% worn is not dangerous. Even 20% remaining isn't dangerous yet. Brake pads are engineered to work perfectly well until the friction material is almost gone, usually around 3 millimeters. 50% is just a psychological number. It sounds scary, but it means nothing without a measurement. Here's the counter that shuts this down. Ask for the pad thickness in millimeters. 8 millimeters or more, basically like new 4 to 6 millimeters, you have plenty of time. 3 millimeters or less, now it's time to schedule a replacement. If they won't give you a number, they're not diagnosing, they're pressuring. Scam number 8. The premature coolant flush. Modern cars don't use old-school coolant anymore. Most vehicles today run long-life coolant, designed to last 5 years or 100,000 miles. Yet somehow, shops recommend a coolant flush at 30,000 miles. Why? Because that flush machine is a money printer. They might dip a test strip into the coolant and show you a scary color. But here's the truth. Coolant naturally changes color over time due to heat cycles. Color alone does not mean the coolant has failed. Here's the counter. Open your glove box. Take out the owner's manual. Flip to the maintenance schedule. If the manufacturer, the engineers who built the engine, say to replace coolant at 100,000 miles, and the shop wants to do it at 30,000, ask them one question. Why do you think you know more than the people who designed this engine? That usually ends the conversation. Scam number 9. The dirty fluid trick. This one looks convincing. The mechanic pulls a dipstick or opens a cap and says, "Look how dark this fluid is. It should be bright red. It's burnt." Here's the secret they don't tell you. Hydraulic fluids and oils darken almost immediately once you start driving. Heat cycles break down the dye, not the fluid itself. Color is not a reliable indicator of fluid health. A fluid can be dark and still lubricate perfectly. The real indicators are smell and contamination. Burnt fluid smells like burnt toast. Bad fluid may contain metal flakes or debris. Here's the counter. Unless the fluid smells burnt or is full of metal, dark color alone is not a reason to spend $200 on a flush. Don't pay for fear, pay for facts. Scam number 10, the universal transmission flush. This one is controversial, but it's critical you understand it. Many shops aggressively sell something called a power transmission flush. They hook your car to a machine that forces cleaning chemicals and new fluid through the transmission under pressure. Sounds helpful until it destroys your transmission. On older, high-mileage vehicles, this process can actually cause failure. Here's why. Inside an aging transmission, worn clutch packs sometimes rely on a thin layer of friction material and sludge to grip properly. A power flush can dislodge that material, causing the transmission to slip. Worse, the pressure can push debris into tiny valve body passages, leading to delayed shifting, harsh shifts, or complete failure, often shortly after the service. And then the shop says, well, your transmission was already bad. Here's the counter. Most manufacturers do not recommend power flushing. They specify a drain and fill, gravity only, no pressure, no chemicals. If a shop pushes a power flush, ask this: is this exact procedure approved by my car's manufacturer? In most cases, it's not. Scam number 11, the fuel injection cleaning. This one sounds technical, and that's the trap. The shop tells you your car feels sluggish and recommends a fuel injection cleaning for $150. Here's what they don't explain. There are two ways to clean fuel injectors. The proper way involves removing the fuel rail and professionally cleaning each injector. That process takes hours. The scam way? They pour a $10 bottle of additive into your gas tank and charge you an hour of labor. Or they hook up a pressurized can for 15 minutes and call it a day. Meanwhile, top-tier gasoline, brands like Shell, Chevron, and others, already contains detergents designed to keep injectors clean. Unless your car has a check engine light, a misfire code, or a confirmed injector issue, this service is usually pure profit padding. Here's the counter. Ask them, do I have an injector-related fault code? If the answer is no, decline the service. Scam number 12, the phantom leak. This one crosses from shady into criminal. A dishonest technician sprays a little oil or coolant onto your shocks, oil pan, or engine block. Then they bring you out and say, see this? You have a serious leak. Because it looks wet, you believe them. You authorize a $600 gasket repair. They wipe the spray off with a rag, charge you the money, and do absolutely nothing. Here's how you protect yourself. If you've never seen drops on your driveway or garage floor, be suspicious. Say this instead: please clean it off completely. I'll drive it for a week and come back so we can recheck it. A real leak will return. A spray bottle leak won't. That one sentence can save you hundreds. Scam number 13, the tune-up. If a mechanic tells you your modern car, anything built after about 2000, needs a tune-up, stop them right there and ask one question. What exactly are you tuning? Because here's the truth. Back in the old days, a tune-up meant adjusting carburetors, distributor caps, ignition timing, and mechanical components. Modern engines are computer-controlled. There is nothing to tune. Today, a tune-up usually means changing spark plugs. That's it. But shops use the outdated term because it sounds complicated. Then they bundle it into a $400+ package filled with adjustments that don't exist on modern engines. Here's the counter. Ask for an itemized list. If the only real service listed is spark plugs, make sure you're paying only for that, not a mystery package built on outdated terminology. Scam number 14, double-dipping labor. This is one of the most common ways even honest people get overcharged. Shops use something called book time, standardized labor guides. Here's how the scam works. Job A, replace timing belt. Book time, 4 hours. Job B, replace water pump. Book time, 3 hours. A dishonest shop charges you 7 hours. But here's the problem. To replace the water pump, the timing belt already has to come off. Once the belt is removed, swapping the pump takes maybe 20 minutes. So the correct charge should be 4 hours for the belt plus maybe 0.5 hours for the pump, not 7. Here's the counter that exposes it instantly. Ask the service advisor, are these labor times overlapped? Because these parts are in the same location. Watch their face. They know you know. Scam number 15, the parts quality shell game. This one is subtle and expensive. The shop quotes you a repair using premium OEM parts. They charge you $150 for an alternator, but behind the scenes, they order a $40 white box economy alternator from the cheapest supplier they can find. They install it and charge you for the premium part anyway. The cheap part fails in a year, and guess where you're back? Right in their shop. Here's the ultimate counter. 2 words. Save parts. When you sign the work order, write, please save all old parts and boxes. If they know they'll have to show you the packaging the new parts came in, they won't dare install the cheap junk. Most mechanics aren't evil, but the industry is built on the assumption that you won't question anything. Now you know what to look for. Now you know what to ask. And now you're much harder to fool. If this video saved you money or will in the future, like it, share it, and subscribe. Because the more drivers who know these scams, the harder they are to pull off.